All right, Sprocket Talk viewers and listeners, it's your boy George B, and I'm super excited because today we are going to talk about something that, well, unfortunately, when I open many portals, I don't see you doing, and it's probably the one thing that you should make sure you're always doing. Anyway, you know what time it is. You a HubSpot user looking for fun and interactive education that helps you be better at HubSpot? Then welcome to Sprocket Talk. All right, so you might be wondering what that thing is, and you also know this is an interview, so you might be wondering who that person will be that we're going to be talking to. So without further ado, hidden guest that you have yet to see, or they have yet to see, why don't you introduce yourself, who you are, what you do, and who you do it for.
Hello, thank you for having me. My name is Courtney Sembler. I'm a team lead and inbound professor on the HubSpot Academy team, dedicated to educating and inspiring people about email marketing, and of course, something that I think we're going to talk a lot about today.
Lead scoring, people. That's what we're going to talk about today. Courtney, I'm super excited to have you on Sprocket Talk. I mean, you guys are a wealth of knowledge. Obviously, you know that I love HubSpot Academy, and if you, Sprocket Talk viewer or listener, have not been diving headfirst into the HubSpot Academy, getting all your certifications, what's wrong with you? Anyway, that's not why we're here today. I do want to talk about lead scoring. And Courtney, here's why I was like, I'm at Inbound. All of a sudden, there's this conversation of a new predictive lead scoring engine. I've historically always taught manual lead scoring because, like I said in the intro, we've gone into a ton of portals as consultants and as an agency, and there's just no lead scoring happening. And so I want to also talk about this kind of shift that happened in my mind, and that is that for the longest time, lead scoring was a marketing action. And to hear Michael talk about the service tool and just the sales tool as well, I started to think, you know what? There's got to be a bigger conversation of lead scoring for marketing, sales, and service. And so, Sprocket Talk viewers and listeners, just so you know, this is the first of what will be probably 3 interviews that Courtney and I are going to do. Today, we're going to lay the foundation of lead scoring. What is it? Why you should be doing it? Is it like manual or predictive? By the way, the answer isn't going to be what you think, I think, on that one. And just kind of a foundational baseline. So let's go ahead, Courtney, and get started in with this and just talk about, from a 50,000 foot view, if somebody is watching this or listening and they go to their lead scoring inside of HubSpot, like, what is it? What should they be thinking about? That type of stuff.
You know, if you're going into your HubSpot portal and you're thinking about lead scoring, the first thing that you need to think about is really that it's going to help you. It's going to help your marketing team, it's going to help your sales team, and it's going to help your service team. It's there to provide some additional information for you when you start talking to those leads. If we want to look at like a definition for lead scoring, it really is that process of assigning a value to prioritize your outreach. And I really want to stress that process because it's not just a one and done, I go in there, I grab something, and I keep moving. You're getting more data every single day into your database, which means that your lead scoring is going to continue to evolve as your business grows. We're no longer sort of in that lead scoring is just, I go in there, I take a look at the number, and you know, it's going to be like that forever. Lead scoring is continuing to be that process that you're going to be evolving, which gets me excited. I like that we're moving in that way. I like that it's going to continue to grow with you because that's kind of the magic. Your team is growing. Your lead scoring is a process that's going to be evolving with you. So if there's that one thing that you can think about when you jump into your lead scoring is that it's a process. And just like everything with sort of inbound, it's going to continue moving. It's going to continue sort of working with your business and continuing to help you prioritize that outreach.
Absolutely. And it's funny because I'm already thinking of things. I knew this was going to end up being more of a dialogue versus an interview, like back and forth conversation. Because one of the things when you say it's always moving that I thought about is it's like us as humans, like it's always evolving. Somebody's always taking and by the way, this is the first pro tip I'm going to throw in there. Somebody is always taking a positive or a negative action towards the marketing, the selling, or the service that you're providing. And so we have to look for not only adding positive scores if we're doing manual, but negative scores when we're doing this as well. I'm sure we'll talk a little bit more about that. But then one of the things that I have seen as the biggest, like, holy crap moment when we've helped people out is it grows, Courtney, because our marketing grows, our sales grow, our service grows. However, what a lot of people do is they'll go in and they'll throw a few lead scoring metrics in there, and they don't realize that every time you fire up a new campaign, build a landing page, build a call to action, add that form, like you got to go and put scores in for those. Maybe not, predictive, manual. Anyway, like that's one thing is you're going to be helping it grow. You're going to be helping it get smarter. Let's dive in a little bit deeper though, and let's talk about this, like, why is lead scoring for marketing teams specifically like more important? And this could go around the topic of engagement or measuring engagement or wherever you want to go, but let's go specific to that team, because in future interviews, I want to go specific to sales and to service as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think for the marketing team, lead scoring has been something that we've talked a lot about. Marketing teams have always sort of looked at lead scoring as something that they're going to do. Maybe that they're not sure if it's manual, is it predictive, and how they're going to use it. But, as a marketer, you're constantly analyzing everything. You're looking at how your campaign is performing. And I think one thing that a lead scoring allows you to kind of take that step further, and what makes it so important to your marketing team, is it's really then focusing in on how those individual contacts performed in that overall campaign. It's, your campaign is performing, you're getting those landing pages views, you're getting that conversion on the CTA, but we know that we want to be looking at things from a human and helpful perspective. So we want to use lead scoring to give us that really specific view into those individual contacts. And without us having to be clicking into every individual contact to see their performance. That lead scoring, number, whether it's predictive or manual, helps you to pull that kind of view of like, these are the group of contacts that took the actions, either positive or negative, that now, me as a marketer and for my team are going to be able to prioritize, do we pass them off to sales? Do they have a place in services? Where are they going? And helping you guys have that conversation around that, which I think is really why it's important for the marketer and the marketing team, is it really enables those really in-depth conversations about how your contacts are performing with all of your campaigns.
Love this. And here's one thing that I always share with our clients too, Courtney, is make sure that number is visible. And what I mean by that is if you have a set of lists, make sure one of your list columns is HubSpot score. And so those service or marketing or sales folks see in the list, oh, there's the score. Or in your contact area on the sidebar where we have that lead intelligence, make sure that's one of those that you put into the top. Like, look, most of you, if you go into that area, you're going to realize that you can see that contact's first name and last name like 3 times. Get the first name and last name out of the about section, add in that HubSpot score up to the top. It's going to be a metric that you want to pay attention to. And another, I'm going to drop a little pro tip here. One of the things that you'll want to do with your team is make sure they understand what that score means. I'm just going to give you an example. We do this one thing that we call 4 pillars of super qualified leads. One pillar is engagement, HubSpot score. And we talk about how the numbers have to mean something mentally to the normal human being. In other words, we're translating the data for them. And that is, we do a thing where it's 25, 50, and 75. And those numbers equal out radar, research, and revenue. If somebody hits 25, they should be on our radar. They've taken enough actions on our website that we should kind of peek around and see who they are. If they reach 50, we should do research. And this can be using a third-party plugin. It can be looking at the lead intelligence we're pulling. It could be sending out an automated workflow to then do a survey. And actually pull in the information we want. And revenue, it's simply like, hey, yo, we should have sold him something yesterday. Let's get to this. So that's the way that we think about why lead scoring is important, measuring on engagement, making sure it's visible, and making sure we translate the data for the normal human being. So with that said, I know, Courtney, we have some folks who are watching or listening today, and they're like, I don't even want to go into my lead scoring tool because I know right now I have done nothing. Like, it's a blank slate, and I'm scared crapless because of the work that I'm going to have to do. So my question to you is, if you're talking to that marketer who has barely done anything or hasn't done anything at all, like, how should they get started with lead scoring? What's the best way?
I think the first thing is, if there is that blank screen that you're looking at for lead scoring, like, that's really exciting. because you're sort of really starting from that foundational piece versus trying to reset numbers or work your way backwards, which can be done. But if you're looking at it and you haven't done anything, get excited. Because what that means is you're going to be able to really start with your lead scoring from what I kind of always look at as the fresh slate. And when you're looking at that, any business, depending on what you're looking at, you want to start looking at your own data. When we look at lead scoring from the industry, there's a lot of different information out there that's like, you should score this or you should score that, or maybe you should look at that. But you know what? You have your data and you know the information about your contacts better than anybody. And the best thing about lead scoring is that it only focuses on your data. It's going to look at how your contacts are performing, not how the industry is performing, but how your contacts are interacting with your business. So the best thing that I like to do with lead scoring is you start with a conversation. What are the 5 or 6 things that you want to look at initially that are going to indicate whether someone is moving forward, maybe moving backwards, and really starting to kind of measure those things out? You guys are taking a look at it of like 25, 50, 75. What are those things that are in those buckets? Is it that you guys are really focused on email marketing and that's going to be something that you really want to focus on? Or maybe it's that you're running a lot of events. I mean, we just had inbound events are top of mind for me. And like, how do you use that as another scoring metric? But it's really starting that conversation around the data that you already have to really decide where you want to score and what you want to score off of.
Y'all should maybe rewind that section right there. Like, there's so many good nuggets in that part. So, Courtney, I gotta be honest, and I usually am. Actually, well, I would like to say always, but there was this one time. No, I'm just kidding. That's not why we're here. Here's the thing. Historically, I hated predictive lead scoring. And I would tell clients, and I'm just being honest here, I would be like, look, I don't think the machine is smart enough yet. And of course, this is pre-inbound, pre the new version of what's coming out. So it kind of got me excited. I'm like, okay, I'm going to give you a second chance. Like, that was kind of my mindset. But historically, I'm like, I would tell clients, no. Like, it's manual scoring. This is what you do. Do it this way. It's not smart enough yet. So I really want to, give you the opportunity to talk to, like, I'm going to say the Sprocket Talk viewers and listeners, but really this is going to be me like flipping the switch back to you and like absorbing what you say as far as like, can you just do manual? Can you just do predictive? Is there like a happy mix between the two? Like, what should our mindset be when it comes to now manual and predictive versus predictive lead scoring?
Yeah, and I think something that's exciting inherently, whether it was, conversations at inbound, whether it's now you're sort of starting to hear about manual versus predictive, it's really that, if we look at anything, you want to collect the most information and you want to have the most data available to you when you're making decisions about how you're talking to leads and what you're having the conversation on. So manual and predictive lead scoring are those tools, sort of two real tools that are going to help you give you that score to really qualify those conversations. And for those of you that might not know maybe what the definition of predictive lead scoring is, it really is a tool that uses an algorithm that's going to look at your own data to help you see if leads in your database are qualified or not qualified. And so it uses that algorithm to really decide, what are the actions and measurements that are happening, both positive and negative. And so what gets me excited about our new predictive lead scoring is, one, it's being taken out of the predictive lead scoring mapping that you may have seen, where there was a 90-day lock and you had to look at it and you couldn't really change anything. And it's really bringing it into your contacts database where you're living day in and day out, where you're looking at your contacts, and it's providing that filter for you right on that screen that you're able to toggle back and forth. So that algorithm is doing all the work for you on the back end. All that AI, everything that's coming in with the data and bringing it to you on your contacts database, just home screen, giving you that filter. And if you walk in there on the morning and you want to see, I want to see my top 100 leads right now and the number value that's associated with them. Or you want to flip the narrative and say, I actually want to look at my leads that are not qualified and figure out why they're not. So maybe I can figure out, are they coming into my database in the correct way? Should I not be doing certain things? And that's what I really like about the new predictive lead scoring model, is that it's doing the work for you on the back end, which we all know we got to save time. We got to figure out a way to move faster. And it's doing that for you and then putting that information where you are every day. It's not hidden, it's visible, and it's something where your marketing team, your sales team, and your service team can look at it regardless of what they're doing. And it allows you to really, I think, get the full picture of what's happening with your contacts. Initially, when you looked at predictive lead scoring, it was like, well, who's doing well? And this is giving you the full gamut of, you're going to have these different sections, whether it's, 50, 75, 25, whether you rank them high, medium, low, whatever you decide. It's really showing you everything so that you're making conscious decisions for all of your leads, not just the top 5%. And really what that leads into, I think, is it's not just predictive or manual. You can do both. You can look at all the numbers. You can say, I want to use my predictive lead scoring, and I recommend getting started there and seeing what that algorithm provides for you. And then you can also get even more granular and look at manual scoring and being like, I really want to hone in. I have an event I want to score on. I have something specific, and also use the manual lead scoring as well.
Ah, snap. I just had an epiphany. Like when you start, I was like, I wonder if she's going to go into like manual is your fine tooth comb, right? So like you just getting started is, well, there's predictive lead scoring. You can go look at it. Anybody can go look at it. But now that I know the data, I want to even tweak this down even further. Total mind shift. Listen, Sprocket Talk viewers, listeners, I would literally rewind that section and listen to it again, take notes, because that is going to change the way in which you might think about this entire game, as well as the next 2 or 3 interviews that we do are going to change the game, because it's just a different conversation. We're in a different space. HubSpot is a different tool than what it was when we first started thinking about just marketing lead scoring. So let's keep on the marketing side of this, though. I'm curious from you. I have my own kind of set of answers, but I want to know from you, when you talk to people, or what the data might show, or however we've collected this, like what do most marketers, when they go in to do that manual lead scoring, like what are they forgetting to score that we should be like, hey, make sure you don't forget this?
It's all about behaviors. When we go in and do lead scoring, the one thing we tend to forget is the behaviors and the information that our contacts are telling us. Their email engagement, their engagement on your different blogs or website pages, the things that they're just serving up to you, we should be scoring on that. We've gotten in really good habits of saying, hey, like we're going to score whether or not they hit this certain contact property, or they do these certain things that, we're tracking or that we're manually doing. But you have to remember that so much data is coming in and it's just being served up to you that we need to look at that. I think of a really great example. I was talking to a HubSpot customer and they were really excited about their lead scoring. And I asked them, I was like, what makes it so successful? And they're like, yes, we checked the boxes of things that we had to score, but they're like, our lead scoring is based off those behaviors. They're like, the second that we started doing that, we were actually able to use that score to move our business forward.
Yeah, it's about behaviors, because we're measuring engagement. Everybody needs to realize that this is an engagement, behavioral, and this is why it's so important. And I'll say it again, it is positive and it is negative. Look, lead scoring is where you have to be the closest to life actions. So when I think about this, if I'm a B2B company, I may actually give a negative lead score on a just personal Gmail, Yahoo, AOL account, right? Some people don't think to do that. If they unsubscribe, that's a negative action. I'm probably going to give them some points. If I'm being smart and I actually create negative personas in my HubSpot persona tool and they define them, how would you best describe yourself? I'm this type of person. Oh, you're a negative, giving a negative score to a non-fit type client. These are some of the things actionable that we see that some marketers are forgetting to do. So with that said, by the way, that was a couple pro tips just thrown in there real quick. Courtney, when you get the score in there, you've got predictive. Now it's predictive and manual. You've got some manual in there. You've got predictive to look for. I think sometimes savvy marketers, even like myself, are like, okay, I'm done. Like, what is next? Like, what should we be doing after the scores are in place? How should that be kind of dictating our workflow moving forward?
Yeah, I think that there's two main things. There's the process that you're going to put in place with the score, and then there's also the continued conversations. So making sure that you have these negative, you have positive scores, and you have your predictive score. You have to have conversations across all teams about what those numbers mean. Making sure that because it's going to be evolving, because it's a process, that conversation can't just happen at the beginning and then be forgotten. You need to continue to be reminding people of like, hey, we added these new scores, or you know what, our predictive lead score is actually showing us this, which we're indicating as that. Continuing that conversation on, whether it's a quarterly basis, whenever you're really continuing to have those more like cross-team functionality conversations. So that's definitely one piece. The other piece is the process. Making sure that this is visible, like you've mentioned, and pulling it into your list. Using it as a metric to dictate segmentation. Your lead score number is going to help you look at so many things. So make sure that you're putting it into your segmentation. You're really using that as an ongoing basis. The best thing that I've ever seen is someone that had some negative and positive engagement on their manual lead scoring, and then they use that for their email marketing sends. They were like, you know what? We know that we've got those negative scores for people who are unsubscribing, so we're going to actually help segment our list that way. So definitely that process, making sure it's visible, and then adding it into everything that you do.
Yes, yes, and yes. Like, that's what you got to do, people, moving forward. Courtney, this has been amazing. I can't wait to get to the future conversations around lead scoring with sales and lead scoring with service. But, by the way, y'all are going to want to check that out. Hashtag game changer. Courtney, if they want to carry on this conversation, what are some resources that you would want to send to them or not send to them, but that they could go and check out? And if they want to connect with you, how do you want to have the Sprocket Talk viewers and listeners connect with you?
Yeah, reach out to me on Twitter or LinkedIn. You can find me at Sembler, Sembler. Look me up, Courtney Sembler on LinkedIn. Ask me any lead scoring questions that you have. And with the launch at Inbound, we did release a new lesson in the Learning Center about understanding HubSpot lead scoring. So you can go in, see that really in-depth view of what predictive lead scoring is, and then also how you can apply it inside of your own HubSpot. So we've got a worksheet, we've got some additional resources, and then practical application of how to use HubSpot lead scoring.
See, people, I try to tell you all the time, HubSpot Academy, they're absolutely amazing. Courtney, thank you for taking the time to do this interview today.
Of course. Thanks so much for having me.
Yo, Sprocket Talk viewers and listeners, that was absolutely amazing. Look, my mind was completely changed on the way that I look at predictive and manual lead scoring, as well as some of the processes to do afterwards. I hope this was valuable to you, and some of those pro tips you can take and run with in your lead scoring. Bottom line, make sure you do it. Hey, do you like these interviews, these updates, these tutorials? Then head over to sprockettalk.com/FB. That'll take you right to our private Facebook group where we can carry on this conversation. Also, make sure you check out sprockettalk.com/audio or /video, which will take you, a savvy marketer, sales professional, or service professional, right to our podcast where you can learn on the move. While you're on the interwebs, check out our Facebook page and our YouTube channel. Hit the bells, the subscribes, the likes, all those things so that we know that you're part of the community. Do you need training past this interview? Really want to get into the nitty-gritty of maybe a lead scoring matrix or something like that? Hey, check out the links below. That's what we do, weekly trainings as well as 1- and 2-day workshops. Make sure you do lead scoring. Make sure you check out the predictive lead scoring that's new in HubSpot. The new model is amazing, and make sure you get some of those positive and negative actions in your lead scoring as well. And while you're doing all of this, make sure you're doing some happy HubSpotting.